Hello, everybody. So we have another message. This one is, I'm not even going to use her name because it is pretty personal. So, but it does come in through Facebook. Dear Ollie, the therapist video is just so great. Fuck. I've been through that. Thank you for making this video. Thank you so much. I had a clinical emotional problem just like your daughter, and the therapist gave me a birthday present. And we went out and we met out at the studio with beer. I was recovering from narcissism. I just came out of a foster home and was totally naive, fucked up after being abused for years, taking in any bullshit around. I fell in love with the therapist. I was in emotional transference and we had met out and she started talking about things like friendship and stuff. I was 19 and she was 30. I was texting her to talk to her about my recovery, and then she said we couldn't continue anymore. I got so angry that I stalked her for 2 days, and now she told me that she helped me, that she was there. I was alone and that I was alone and that I am ungrateful. She came on talking to me about the fact that she was human. She felt emotions, and then she came yapping about ethics after she said to me that there may have been something else between us, just as long as I wouldn't stalk her. I just told her that she was a fat, ugly cow back then at 19. She was laughing at me because of those messages instead of asking me why, instead of trying to understand the clinical problem. So I stalked her again for the day, telling her how unethical she was, how much of a hypocrite and everything she had done, taking me to the hairdresser, seeing us out with beer bottles. She also showed me her leg hair, and then she came out saying that she would sue me for stalking her. That was everything I said was unreal. Everything I had said was unreal. I had no intent of reality. Ollie, am I wrong? Is it my fault? She also blocked me, asking me not to insist on her number. However, you ever thought that you are the one being narcissistic? I have sometimes. I think maybe it's me. Please let me know, and thank you for the videos. Why the therapist protects the narcissist. They are the best. Well, I will say this. You were definitely taken advantage of by a bad therapist. You said you were in foster care, and narcissistic abusive therapists usually prey on the weakest among us. So somebody in foster care would be somebody easily manipulated. The fact that you were only 19 and she was 30 and you're going and she's taking you to the hairdresser and buying you alcohol at 19, I don't know what the drinking age is where you are. This is not somebody from the United States. Is mind-blowing. But it's not the first time I've heard of stories like this of therapists taking advantage of their patients. Even if you misconstrued her niceness, there is still a very, very, it's not even a fine line, it's a thick line between patient and somebody you hang out with and are going to carry on some sort of emotional relationship with. Because what you're saying is she's showing you her legs, she's taking you out, getting you drunk, buying you beer, taking you to the hairdresser, making you feel like, you know, that she's there for you in a different sort of way. From somebody coming out of foster care, where I'm sure you're having issues with stability, with trust, with, you know, relationships. for her to have done that on any level in any way is completely unacceptable and unprofessional. Now, the stalking, I mean, I guess it's more following than actual stalking, because you're angry, you wanted to get your point across to her, and at 19, you kind of put that to the side. You know, this is a 19-year-old girl who had been obviously had a hard childhood since you'd been in foster care, and for her to have done something like that is, quite frankly, disgusting. And then to denigrate your feelings by basically telling you you're the issue. Well, obviously you have an issue if you're going to therapy to begin with. No kidding, I'm an issue. That's why I'm talking to you, dummy. And the fact that you fell in love with her, and look, you're opening yourself up emotionally to this person, and you know that's something apparently that happens a lot between patients, where the patient will fall in love with the therapist, will want something romantic with the therapist, and the therapist's job is to cut that off. I mean, the therapist is definitely to blame here for taking somebody in that situation and having some sort of personal relationship. The alcohol, the hairdresser, the legs. Obviously, and she told you, well, we could have if you keep quiet. That's a narcissist. And I've said this before, the therapy world is either riddled with narcissists or they don't want to hear about narcissism. So I'm sorry this experience happened to you, but what I would suggest is obviously you still need therapy, and I hope you're still talking to somebody professional, because you still obviously, there's no way you've been able to work this out on your own. Yeah, you know about narcissism, you know about the abuse, you saw my videos about therapists, and yeah, that helps you, but you know that's a short-term fix, and I hope you're getting professional help for somebody who somebody who can guide you in the right direction and help you. But that is completely disgusting. And for everybody else who's watching this in therapy, you know, if you've had these feelings, or if you've had a therapist step over the line with you like this, it is completely unacceptable. And you should probably, the best way, you're not going to get it, because remember, at the end of the day, you stalking her and you telling her she's a fat cow and what a piece of shit she is, she's a narcissist. That's what she wants. They thrive on the confrontation anyway, so you're really not getting anywhere. The best thing you can do, and not that it's even going to go anywhere, because what I found out, these therapist ethics committees, they don't really care either. File an ethics complaint, hope it goes somewhere. Above that, you know, cut her off, change your number, whatever, and find a new therapist, somebody who's going to help you, somebody who's accredited. Check out their reviews, you know, of people they helped online, because all that's online now anyway. But you need to be so careful of the narcissistic predator therapist, because that's what you encountered here. To take a 19-year-old girl who just got out of foster care and then make her believe she's, you know, somebody that she could be somebody in a relationship that she's not, and just pull your narcissistic tactics is quite scary. And to your question is, again, if you have narcissistic tendencies, well, obviously you do. You're in foster care. You've been abused. Look what you've been through by the supposed mental health professional. Quite scary. Quite scary. So I hope the advice helped a little bit. I hope everybody who watched this can somehow relate to it. You know, and keep this in mind about therapists. Don't just assume the therapist isn't a narcissist. That the therapist, just because they have doctor or whatever behind their name, that they're not just as evil as the person that you're trying to get away from, or the situation you're trying to get away from. Because remember, as narcissist abuse survivors, we have a tendency to bring the same type of people into our lives over and over and over again. So keep that in mind. Once again, the GoFundMe link is in the description box. Please donate if you can. Share wherever you can. I am trying to hit this goal by the end of the month. So please, if you donate and you want me to make a video with a problem, with an issue, you go right to the front of the pack. You have a video made basically immediately. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks again for watching. Take care.